That's right. Welcome in, welcome back, folks, to a Notre Dame 2024 recruiting update slash spring ball has started update edition of the Always Irish Show. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it, subscribe. I appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps me as well. Notifications on, you know why. That way you'll be alerted every time a new episode drops. You don't want to miss it. Twitter, search bar Always Irish Rat. Always Irish Inc. Emails, alwaysirishandy@gmail.com. Audio only, anywhere you want me, you can locate me. Call in line 312-900-8815. Tell Johnny all you heard and seen. Fighting Irish Wire every single day. Type it into Google. Read about the team you love. Read about the Irish. Welcome in, folks. Thanks for being here. It is great to have spring football up and running. It's just beautiful to have actual football to talk about. That being said, and to celebrate that, I wanted to have a guest on today. Go over some recruiting, go over the early spring. It is Mason Plummer. How are you doing, Mason?
Hey, doing well. Excited to talk some spring ball with you. It feels like it's been a long time coming. So a lot of good practice clips going around. Gets me excited.
Yeah, you know what it is, man. Well, before we do this, I'm not getting through this doing you wrong. Golden Homers, go subscribe now. Put it on your phone while you're watching it. Golden Homers, check it out every day. And follow Mason on the Twitter machine at MasonPlummer_. Make sure you do that. Good quality stuff. A lot of good recruiting stuff you guys focus on too. Back to what you said. Here's why I think we're all in such a good mood. Obviously, every college football base wants football again from their team. Winter wasn't exactly the smoothest of time periods around Notre Dame football. And I'm just vaguely throwing that out there for a few different reasons. I don't feel this winter was that relaxing or low key. And a lot of the stuff that came up was either negative or could be negative depending on perception and what you look at. I think the best thing that could happen right now is to get out there, play football. We all have football stuff to write about, talk about, yell about, not behind the scenes, rumor this, rumor that, Jack this, Hillman that, all that. Talk about some actual football. I'm thrilled to be able to do that. So before we get into it, are you ready for some White Sox baseball? Because I know I am not.
No.
I'm not.
We're looking at a week until Abreu hits a bomb. Game one, you ready?
White Sox baseball is it's death by 162 paper cuts, baby. Oh, like it's just a slow little leak and stab every day. Yeah. Another one of those games. I'm not ready for it. All right. I realize we're the only two White Sox fans that are seeing this, but I got to relate to my Notre Dame Sox layover wherever I can, and there's not many of us.
It's a rough existence. Nobody should ever choose this.
Yeah, no, it's a very rough. It's very rough. All right. So first things first. As we record this, we've had one practice totally done. There's one that finished today. I haven't seen what's been written and talked about today. But as far as what we saw from the brief clips that were out, people writing about it that did have access, what did you see from those first practice reports that jumps out to you or that stands out to you?
Yeah, so there's two positions that I'm keeping in mind that need to make a big jump, or I'm a little bit concerned about what we're going to see from the team. That's wide receiver and defensive line. So I liked what I saw from the receivers. Deion Colzie looks big. Jaden Thomas looks bigger somehow. I liked what I saw from Tobias Merriweather. I would like to see him put on a little bit more weight, but he's just a lanky dude. He's kind of like a T. Higgins type that maybe he's not going to add that weight so nicely, but he's that long, rangy, go-get-it kind of guy. So I'm liking what I'm seeing from the freshman receivers already. I'm pumped about that. So, and then in terms of the defensive line.
Hey, didn't I see Rico get up there and make a good grade? I saw a couple flashes from him.
So yeah. I think more so than the last couple years, the last couple cycles in terms of receivers, I think Flores and Greathouse are going to be able to play day one. Will they? I don't know. With Tyree moving to the slot and everybody else needs to get theirs. A lot of unproven talent at receiver. Will Styles come back to being what he is? Will Colzie continue to be what he was towards the end of the year? Will Thomas continue to ascend? I mean, a lot to be seen here. but I'm liking what I'm seeing from Hartman slinging the ball to him. So with that being said, focusing on moving on to the defensive line, I need to see somebody make a big move. John Baptiste from Ohio State, I think he's going to be good. I don't think he's necessarily a star that we're accustomed to seeing from the edge rusher spot. Where he ends up, I don't know. I think he'll probably be the strong side end, but somebody has to make a big move at the Viper spot. So, Battelle, you got to make that position yours. You've been here 3 or 4 years now. This has to be your time to go. And then, in terms of the interior, Riley Mills, you're a monster, but you got to show me something. Tyson Ford, Aiden Gobera, Joshua Burnham, who's going to make the big run? There's always a guy in spring that comes out of nowhere. A Benjamin Morrison, for example, not necessarily it's going to be a freshman, but a guy that makes a big run and then sees himself getting significant playing time. So my vote personally is Aiden Gobera. He was the first guy that Marcus Freeman mentioned in his press conference. Nathan and I, both the Golden Homers, are super high on him. So if he can add on weight, I'm expecting a big spring from him, and there's plenty of room for playing time. So will it happen? I don't know, but I'm certainly rooting for it.
Yeah, man, I just, here's a couple of my thoughts. One of them is defensive line is my number one concern, like just circled. And here's the thing. I agree with like the wide receiver thing. Obviously, we hope we're emerging on the back end of that problem, coming out of it with better depth, more athletes, competition. That's the concern with D-line. I'm not sure we have the bodies you need to do what I want them to do and enough of them to rotate and to hold up. What was the stat? I saw it today. I think it was like 6 out of the top 8 tacklers from the defensive front are gone now. And more than half the sacks from last year. That's a lot, man. You're just losing a lot there.
I'm sure almost all of that comes from Foskey and the Adamilola brothers. So you lose all 3 of them. That's a ton of production. That makes sense.
Yeah. And so I just, that's a fear there. Like I have some concerns about like linebackers looking a little bit smoother all together as a unit, like as well. But the difference is I feel like there's more guys that they can work with to find a blend that works if they need to, with some personnel flexibility that this year I'm just concerned we don't have on the defensive line. Now, what that does do though is that provides a great opportunity. Like if you go out there and you show you're going to get penetration, you're going to get the quarterback, you're going to hold up against the run and the point of attack, there's snaps to be gained. So like you said, it's worrisome for a guy like me that I sit there and worry about it. Somebody could jump up and claim some snaps or be a meaningful rotation guy without a big drop off. Getting after the quarterback's one part of it. Stopping the run is a whole different dynamic. And where that shows the most is your big 3 games that we all have circled. And if you're not able to hold up on the run on them, then you're in some trouble. So I agree with you there on like what you're looking at. And I'm encouraged that wide receiver situation could end up being a strength in about another year when it was a dire weakness a year ago. They're doing a good job there. So is Stuckey. Are you going to be able to keep him? That's another issue. Wait another year and see.
I'm glad he's not gone already. So I'm counting my blessings that he's going to train up these young guys. And I got to imagine after this season, not to be Debbie Downer or anything, but I got to imagine he's gone unless you make him OC, but that would mean Parker sucks. So
yeah, right. Like any way you go, there's something I don't like whatever way we turn. And here's what I hear all the time though, man. I hear all the time, well, it's a good thing that everybody wants your assistance and they come and go. And look at Alabama's staff. It's a revolving door. And Georgia guys come and go all the time. They also win a lot of things sometimes. I feel a lot better with our good coaches we love leaving if there's a trophy in the case from when they're there. Like that's where it hurts is like, and I know that's selfish or whatever, and it's the business. It's just like I can't handle it when people go, it happens to Bama every year and they don't care. They got 7 trophies in the case in the last decade. No wonder they're not worried about it.
Right. So, there's no consolation prize. There's no, hey, at least we won the conference or whatever. It's national championship or bust at Notre Dame, and it's been a long time.
Yeah. And I give Stuckey a lot of credit. Of last year, he might have inherited the roughest assistant coaching job because he inherited no depth, two guys that were upright to walk to start the year, and then was dealing with quarterbacks that couldn't do what you needed them to do.
Yeah.
Stuckey had a tough job, and I think he did great at teaching, getting the most out of that group he could, getting some of them trending up, keeping the recruiting going. It's a tough pitch to sell when you don't know who's throwing you the ball. It's
Right.
receivers, you know? So I think he did a great job. It's going to hurt if he leaves, but you got him another year. You got to look at it as get as much done in that year as you can then.
Yeah, that starts with teaching up the freshmen, make them serviceable, and then you got to figure out something with Styles. This past year, he was a head case, and he has all the talent in the world, and maybe he doesn't have the best hands, but when the ball's in his hands, he looks dangerous. I mean, play one against Ohio State, I was like, oh my God, like this guy's about to have an amazing season. And I'm still.
You know what it reminds me of, Mason? I don't want to say this. It's sad.
You got to say it.
He reminds me last year of Golson and Wimbush, where I felt like they had more talent than we were getting, but something messed up in their heads and they couldn't even function after a while. And they like crumbled under their own athleticism, like a mental block, like the yips putting, like it just wasn't computing. He's got to wake up.
And I'm sure
he's got to wake up or he's going to get passed up. One of those is going to happen.
I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't start game one. I don't have a reason to say that. I'm just saying, like, I'm not hearing anything. I'm just saying that I think a lot of the receivers are really talented. And if he doesn't figure it out, they're going to put guys out there that can catch the ball. Point blank. So,
Yep. And it's just good to see some competition and athletic bodies out there. Like that's just, it's refreshing. And so what do you think? This is a really good question. What do you think is most important this spring for Notre Dame to get accomplished? Like, is it just getting all the new staff all integrated on the same page and things run smooth? Or are there actual like things you're looking for defensively you want them to figure out and have hammered out before the summer break? Like, what do you think are the couple most important things to you?
Well, first, you complimented your own question before you said it. That's impressive in itself.
What did I say?
You said, oh, this is a good question.
Well, it's a good question to ask. Yeah. I think it's a good question.
Yeah, I think it's got to start with Parker. What are you going to do offensively? You have a stud at quarterback. What sort of scheme are you going to run? And, of course, it helps when you have a stud. But, I mean, for better or for worse, Reese was very polarizing, but I think he ran a good offense. And we could see a steep drop-off if Parker doesn't figure it out. You have the pieces offensively, I think, to have a good offense, and you automatically inherit a quarterback better than Tommy ever had. So figure it out and get an offense that's scoring 35, 38 points a game. I think it has to start there because I think the defense is going to be fine.
I'm telling you, it's almost like inverse pressure on Parker because with some of the changes in personnel and having a Hartman and everything, I think everybody's expecting really big things from this offense now. And it's almost like it isn't like last year would have been easier because people understood it was a struggle and some of the personnel. It's a tough job for him because it's coming in with a hinge of negativity off all the offseason stuff and the questions. You got this quarterback. People are going to expect 38, 40 points a game here. And here's what I'm nervous about. Talk me out of this. I have these fears when I lay my little Irish head down at night that the offense is going to get a lot better and the defense is going to get a lot worse. And we're going to end up just about as good as we have been, but for totally different reasons. And then I'm mad just for a different reason. Tell me, convince me that defense isn't going to drop back to where I'm going to be upset every week.
I got to believe there's too much talent at defensive line for it to be bad. I believe in the linebackers. The corners are that's the best cornerback duo Notre Dame's had in 20 years.
Yep.
And then you got to figure it out at safety. I don't know what they necessarily do there.
Yeah.
So you worry about defensive line and safety, which haven't been issues for a long time. So you got to figure it out. I think there's enough talent there. Can someone emerge and play at a high level? You need Watts ultimately to emerge at safety and be a stud. I don't know if Henderson's the guy. Can you move Lewis to safety? I don't know. I think Watts has the best chance and the most potential to be a game changer at safety. And then you just need a young guy or two or three of them to step up on the defensive line.
Yeah, it's just kind of frustrating. It feels like the last 20 or so years, whenever Notre Dame really has it going, I don't remember it ever being like, wow, I feel great about the offense, great about the defense, great about the special teams, great about the coaching. Like,
Yeah.
no, it's always 2015, great offense, no defense. And then the defense got good, but we had no offense. Like, it just we struggle to kind of have everything trending up, ready to peak all at the same time.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think we'll feel better after spring. Some guys are going to break out. This is a weird time of year right now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a weird time of the year, and not everybody's even there yet. So a lot of these dynamics are going to change in the summer too. So,
So
you know,
Benjamin Morrison at this time last year wasn't even on campus yet.
right. Right. Yeah. And then look what he turned into. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I just really, I don't want to think that defense is going to drop back enough to where it's like costing you games. Now, on the flip side of that, if the offense is a lot better, they're going to hold the ball longer with longer drives, keeping our defense off the field. And then if you score another 9 or 10 points a game on average compared to last year, that's a big difference too. So those things can help balance out the defense too. And so it's going to be really interesting. And I need the Owls to show up on defense.
No
I
doubt.
need all the microscopes on both of those Owls. And I think a lot of people are focusing on that. And so am I. I need both of them to just kind of tighten things up a little bit in their groups. And I think it's feasible.
Yeah, no, it's totally feasible. But yeah, I mean, I think the season starts really easily. But if the defense is letting up 20, 30 points to some of those teams, both Owls are on the hot seat. I mean, maybe it's already kind of questionable right now where Freeman kind of has a side eye on him, like, hey, you guys need to be doing your job. I mean, Golden's had eyes on the NFL or whatever. And if this season doesn't look better than last, then you can go do that if you want to. Go coach linebackers again. Go find somebody else.
Yeah. And the thing to me that's important is we've had this long streak of now being known and respected for coming ready to play defense pretty much every week.
Yeah.
And it takes a while to build that culture and build that mentality and have it keep going class to class. And that is something you got to give Kelly credit for building some of. It would just really upset me to see some of that unravel as the offense starts to ascend to what I think will be more like what a playoff offense is capable of looking like and feeling like. So both those Owls, I'm looking at them and I need them to straighten it up or I'll be having a heart attack every week.
Me too. No doubt about it.
So they got to figure that out. So I think we're on the same page. I mean, there's not a ton to look at after a day or two, but everybody's so amped up, just football. Just the picture of the quarterbacks generated all the talk.
Yeah.
I just seeing a picture of the two quarterbacks and people going, John, do you make any inferences off anything you see there? Just what do you think? One of them looks like a 6th-year man, and the other one looks like an inexperienced, smaller guy. That's just what they looked like.
Right. And then I guess I didn't pay attention to Angeli, but Minchie, I like what I saw. I mean, it's practice throws or whatever, but his release looked good. So he looks good in the number 8. I'm a numbers nerd that way. So he looks good.
Hey, you know what else was in that photo of those quarterbacks? Right in the middle between the two quarterbacks was Estime.
Yeah.
The six-pack showing. But the other thing is that dude, he came in bulky, like big. They have really changed his body. And I'll say this. I'm fine with it up till the tipping point where we flip it from now what I'm used to, him delivering the hit. I'm fine with him slimming up till that line where it's no longer him initiating the hit, but them initiating it on him. So I love the mobility and all to be able to do all that and not wear down. But his favorite thing of mine was running people over. I can't have him get too small.
Yeah, I think I'm sure that was on purpose. He's noticeably a little bit more trimmer, more ripped. So I'd imagine that adds a little bit more speed. But yeah, you're right. He's in there to run people over and just be a power back, and you're not touching me or taking me down until I get 7 yards kind of thing. So
yeah, and you know what? I'm glad I went back to this.
Yeah.
Because I skipped over Tyree, working at the slot and all that.
And changing his number.
Does that not make all the sense in the world? Because you're looking at the running back. Look at the dynamic. I don't know about you. I feel like running back might be the deepest room that we have and with the most diversified skill sets that could all contribute. So I love that. So they're already got a bunch of guys. And then wide receiver, we're looking for more guys we can rely on to know what's going on. This seems to be like a perfect fit. And it lightens the load on the running backs. So the ones that are still there will get more of theirs. And it also keeps Tyree happy because he'll get more involved. And then that helps the wide receivers all develop. I love that move.
And Tyree gets the ball in space where he's best. He's not running between the tackles. We tried that for 3 years.
And I got all those other guys to do that.
Right. And Tyree, he's not breaking tackles. They tried to get him to break tackles. He's not great at making anybody miss in the hole. So get him out in space where he can just run in a straight line. That's what he does best. Let him do that.
Yep. So I like that move. A lot of the stuff that the Freeman staff has done is stuff that like makes sense to regular fans, that it registers. And you're like, this is what we all bitch about on Twitter. And now they're taking care of it and addressing it. It makes me, man, it sounds really juvenile, but it matters to me that the stuff that we do and write about and yell about and notice as fans, it seems like a Freeman staff sees what we see and they try and fix it. We were complaining all year. Quarterback room, wide receiver room, nowhere near good enough. One calendar year later, they're in totally healthier spots. Total flip. It just makes me feel good. I feel like these guys get it. They're connected to reality. They understand it, and they know what they need to do. Anything else from you on the first couple days of practice before we get into some brief recruiting news?
Not a whole lot. I think we touched on it.
Yeah, well, it's hard with only one day of work and a couple pictures, you know? Yeah. All right. So regarding recruiting and 2024, I feel like the 23 class is an enigma in a lot of ways. Like the range of emotions we all had with that class, from feeling great, like elite, to okay, pretty good, but not elite. And then they started dropping our guys. And then one of our guys didn't do what he was supposed to do. He's no longer one of our guys. Now he's a Michigan guy. I don't want to get into that. But that class kind of ended up being solid, and it's probably going to get crapped on, honestly, more than it should, because people are looking at the high level stuff that didn't work out. That's probably not fair to the rest of those guys that are good. Do you feel like 24, they have a real good chance to kind of erase some of those feelings of frustration and be in a better spot to hold on to some of them guys at the top? Or is this just going to be a yearly thing as far as checks go?
I don't know if it'll be a yearly thing. I have a thought on the 23 class because, we touched on earlier about we're worried about defensive line, worried about safety. Well, I mean, you had the guys and then they left for one reason or another. You can blame the staff, you blame the kid for that. But you had Keon Keeley that comes in as the day one starter. You have Peyton Bowen comes in as a day one starter. Hillman wouldn't start day one, but he's a hell of a talent to have at safety or rover. So I don't want to be negative. That is super frustrating. But moving on to 24, I don't think this class has the top end potential that 23 had, where it's like at one point I was texting in group chats like over under 3.5 5-stars Notre Dame's getting, and that seemed realistic. We were talking about Peyton Bowen, Dante Moore, Keon Keeley. Those three seemed in, and then you're like, oh, we're going to get a fourth for sure. So this class, it's like over under like 0.5, 1. I mean, CJ Carr is a 5-star, whether he's ranked that way, whatever. Cam Williams should be a 5-star. So there's the two. And could you ask for better positions for it? I mean, quarterback, receiver. Right. But I think this class has a lot of good talent. It just doesn't have that as many guys as Notre Dame should have in the top 50 or so, or top 100 that it did in 2023. But I prepared a 5-pack of guys to keep an eye on. Some of these are a little bit obvious, but at least guys I'm watching in terms of how well is their visit going to go. The next couple weeks are huge visit weeks. Guys to keep an eye on that could potentially, with a great visit, Notre Dame lays out the red carpet, kills it. Will they be on like commit watch? This time last year was huge for visits, commit watch. We were all in on Dante Moore at this point last year, though. So, I'm
still trying to block it out.
What's that?
Still trying to block it out.
You're right. Yeah. So I've got a 5-pack for you here, John. All 5 different positions. Is there any spot you want to start?
Well, one thing I was going to ask is it readily apparent to you from what they have going on with offers and visits, what positions they're prioritizing more heavy in 24?
Not exactly. I think they want to get 4 receivers again. So I'm liking where the trajectory is there, and you have the best one you're going to get
Yeah.
in Sam Williams already. And he's
Seems like D line's a priority as well. Safety has to be one.
right. So I guess those are the obvious ones. You need more depth at D line. I think they have talent there, but you got to continue to bring in guys because inevitably some guys aren't going to pan out. Yeah, they'll take a couple safeties. We know with Ben Minnick being the only one now. So I've got, let's see. Speaking of D line, Justin Scott. I mean, he should be a 5-star. I think he just slipped out of 5-star territory. Notre Dame Georgia battle. He moved his Georgia.
It's because they heard Notre Dame he was going to come to Notre Dame, so they just dropped him real quick.
I say that joking, but it's
right when he goes back home, his rating will go back up.
If he commits to Georgia, he'll be a top 10 player. If he ends up at Notre Dame, he'll be a top 100 maybe. So that's the way it goes. But ultimately, when you pop on the tape, you can tell that kid's legit. But when you're battling Georgia, that's scary as hell, to be honest. So visiting Notre Dame here in the next couple weeks, moved off the Georgia visit until I want to say like June. So I don't think he's in decision mode if you're moving a visit with the team that's running first or second all the way until June. And I mean, unless Notre Dame just wows him, it seemed like at one point he was ready to go, then he wasn't. So we'll see what happens with that. Another guy I really like a lot at receiver, John, the two positions we were mentioning, Quasi Gilmer. I think that he's a guy that Notre Dame needs, wants really bad, and has put the pressure on, kind of turned the stove on. So he's a name to watch out for. Jaden Riddell at tight end. He is the #1 ranked tight end right now. If you guys pay attention, it's bad for your health to pay attention to the rankings as they constantly fluctuate. But Notre Dame's current tight end just dropped like 150 spots in the 2024 class. So make of that what you will.
Did his leg get ran over by a train? Like, what is the, like, I don't understand. How could it be that drastic unless the guy lost a limb?
And they aren't even playing football right now. What basis do you have
I don't get it.
to drop a guy that much? But they're looking for different kinds of bodies at tight end, and Notre Dame's tight end U, so the tight end 1 should be in. So Jack Larson dropping that far. I mean, he's roughly a top 300 guy in 24/7 Sports right now. He's a receiving kind of tight end, so they're looking for different kind of bodies there.
And all the positions at Notre Dame that I'm not going to worry about, that might be right up at the top. Like tight end, it feels to me at Notre Dame now, kind of like receiver at Ohio State, where it's like year in, year out, bring them in, bring them out, churn it out, NFL, production, don't worry about it. You're going to get what you need, NFL. The names change, but the production stays. Like, it's beautiful.
Speaking of stays, Holden Stays is going to have a big year.
Ooh, nice tie-in by you, my friend. I like that. That's good.
So I would have banked on Raridan to have a big year. I just want to see him out there healthy.
Now, Raridan's coming off the injury, right? And that wasn't it like his second one?
He tore the same knee twice. So I've asked a couple people, because I thankfully haven't torn either of my knees. But I asked, I was like, so would it be better for him to tear the same one twice or tear each one? And it sounds like it's significantly worse to tear the same one twice. So not great. He has all the potential in the world, but thankfully we saw a lot from Holden Stays. I'm a believer in Mitchell Evans. Tommy Reese loved him. Will Parker feel the same? I mean, he was the tight ends coach, so he should. So I guess we'll see. I really like the potential of the tight end room.
Hey, now that you're mentioning injuries, how's JD Price coming back from his injury? What's that like, holding him out? I don't think he was out there, right? He's still out.
He's doing some light running is what Freeman said. So another guy that has all the potential in the world. Man, injuries are the worst. You hate to see that happen to an 18, 19-year-old kid before his career even starts. You remember John, the blue and gold game, when he just took off on that touchdown, that like next level speed, like, whoa.
Well, it flashed. And like, if you know what you're looking for, when a guy flashes and it looks different. And then everybody's like, wait a second, who is that? And then everybody was like, holy crap, that's the freshman. This is unbelievable. And we got all excited about it. And then that went downhill. Wasn't that when Diggs got hurt in that game too?
I'm sure.
He got hurt in that game. Buckner lost a fight with the stairs. Like, what the hell's going on, man?
It's impressive to lose a fight with the stairs.
That poor kid. That poor guy. Luck of the Irish, my ass. He's had bad luck and timing on everything for like 5 years. I'm serious. 5 years.
College, you name it.
It's just bad luck. I want the best for him, but man, it's rough sledding. All right, I'm sorry I messed up your list.
No, that's all right. Moving to number 4, Gerby Lambert. big offensive linemen. Joe Rudolph, time to go get your guy. So Harry Houston was lasered in on Gerby Lambert. He loves Notre Dame. Notre Dame seems to love him. I guess I don't know exactly how Joe Rudolph feels, but with that kind of size, you can't teach that size. So I'd like to see him in the fold for Notre Dame relatively soon. And then a guy I thought would already be in the fold if James Laurinaitis was still at Notre Dame is Peyton Pierce, the linebacker. He's a stud athlete, and unfortunately, his best relationship, maybe in the entire recruiting, like his entire recruiting cycle, and not just at Notre Dame, was James Laurinaitis. Laurinaitis moved to Ohio State. Now it looks like these are the two in the running for him. So maybe it's more likely goes to Ohio State now. But I think the world of his talent. Can Notre Dame prevail? I don't know, but it's a name to keep an eye on because it looked like it was done and dusted, and it seems like maybe it's not.
Oh man, let me ask this: how can Freeman adjust Notre Dame's approach with higher level guys to not end up a hostage in the 11th hour the way it felt last year? Because like my bigger picture like issue is try. Guys love Notre Dame and blah, 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 blah. And then a big fat check comes the night before signing day. That's hard to turn down. And I'm not judging anyone for doing it. Maybe they needed to send home to mom to get a new safe house in a safe neighborhood. Like, I don't know, but I know money's money. And I know Notre Dame's been a hostage. We're not going to write the blank checks. I'm not asking for it. But what can Notre Dame do to adjust their process? Because I know they're up front. They're not leading guys on thinking they're going to get $500,000 and then they pull the rug. We're not doing that. Is it just a matter of being ultra direct about what this is going to look like and be like, dude, if you're looking for more than this, just let us know now because we're not able to do it. It ain't going to work. And we'd rather be better to go our separate ways now. Like, how do we avoid being in this every year where we are a hostage? They know we can't match, steal our top guy. I hate it. I hate the dynamic.
Well, until something major changes in college football or Notre Dame changes their approach, and neither seem extremely likely right now. I think it might stick this way for a while. Freeman seemed to be upfront with guys in terms of if you're going to be committed to us, you're not taking visits anymore, so you don't run into a Keeley scenario. But at the same time, it's kind of a catch-22 where you want the 5-star to commit to you, but you don't want him dancing around with other schools either. But you don't want to write off your chances with him by pissing him off and he's not letting him go do what he wants. So it's kind of a fine line you got to walk where some people are on the far end where they're like, don't recruit 5-stars at all. That's a dumb thing to do. You should. Those are the best. Those are the best kids in the class, obviously.
Who could say that? Like, if you don't want to win anything that matters, then go ahead and do it that way. And nobody's going to tell you no. You're not going to get hat flip embarrassed on the last day, but you're also not going to win anything anybody cares about.
Right.
Sorry. Oh, John, this 3-star guy, you could coach him up and all the. Come on, man. You need some of those guys to play better in their star ranking, but the teams that are winning playoff games are the top 5 teams in recruiting the last few years, almost without fail every year.
Right. And it's not like a 5-star certified to hit, but when you have 15 or 20 of them on a roster, I bet most of them do.
And it's just the odds. Yeah.
It's all an odds game. And of course, it's a 3-star. Like I think Morrison ended up or was a 3-star at one point. And of course, that's great scouting by Notre Dame. Kyle Hamilton started ranked in the 2000s or whatever. But you can see the talent. But I'd much rather roll the dice on a 5-star than a 3-star. You know how many 3-stars don't pan out compared to 5-stars?
Right.
I mean, you got to swim in there or play in the right pool.
Yeah. And so I don't know, man. That's like a big picture issue that is muting some of the excitement we all had about what an energetic, good recruiter Freeman is. It's like I have people tell me all the time, you love Freeman and he's the one who let Moore and Keeley and the safety get away. How can you love the way he recruits? He let them guys leave. You think Freeman was the issue? Freeman's the only reason they committed to even be in the position to lose them.
Right.
How is it his fault? You think Freeman was going, that amount of money hurts my feelings. We can't do that. You think Freeman was against doing what it takes? I couldn't ask more of the guy.
Right. I think about it sometimes and it's painful to think about, but Marcus recruiting in a pre-NIL world would be unbelievable.
Well, here's, I don't want to say this. You have two ends of that. Thinking about what he could have done recruiting if he was like where Kelly was in Notre Dame the last handful of years, what that would have looked like. But the other end of this, man, is how many years of him being burned, working his ass off here? Is he going to do that before he goes, the hell with it? I've given 100% and I can't get where I need to be. And then Ryan Day takes an NFL job because they're riding his ass. And then Marcus goes over there. There's no restrictions. He's the champion of the world and we're the training wheels. That's your other scenario on the other end.
And to go to his alma mater where it's so much easier. It's 100 times easier. Why wouldn't you? But I mean, he says choose hard at Notre Dame. So are you going to do that? I don't know. I think he's here for the long term. But yeah, I mean, something's got to change for him. Make it easier, man.
It's a matter of, it's a practical matter of giving 100% all the time. But then you're just blocked from getting the results you should get from that effort. Like that builds up in people, no matter what job it is. When you feel like you're giving your all, but you're not making enough money or getting any credit or anything, like I just don't want to see the guy burn himself out here to where he feels like he has no other choice. And then it's his career on the line and he's got to go at that point.
And speaking of burning himself out, the guy lives on a plane. He has to. He goes to every single women's basketball game. He goes to every single big event. He's always there. You see the pictures of him. God bless him. I don't know how he does it.
I know. And I'm going to tell you this right now. You know how Jack sent that email I was yelling about like a few weeks ago, asking for the donations? Whatever. If that school would just let us buy all of Freeman's hoodies, nobody would have to hit any link to donate. They would have all the money they need.
It would sell out immediately.
Yes.
Every single one.
Every one he wears is a unique style that I'm going, I've never seen that before. It isn't in the bookstore. It ain't on Amazon. What the hell?
And it just proves that Under Armour is capable of making good gear, and they just choose not to.
And we get the boring, generic crap, and then, like, the end falls off the shirt, and you're paying $100 for it. Come on, man.
Polo, the iron-on BS. I can't stand.
Anyways, those are big picture concerns with Freeman here. The burnout of giving 100% and not getting over the finish line would wear at me, and I just don't want to see that take a toll on him when I know he's giving 100% effort. Anybody else we should be keeping our eyes on, or are there any other time frames for visits or anybody ready to commit, or is it just too early? Wait till we get out of spring.
I'll know a lot more. Maybe I'll come back on after the first couple weeks of visits in April. I think we may have a couple guys pop in April, and by the end of April, I think we'll feel a lot better than we do now. So April is traditionally a big month in recruiting nationally, but especially for Notre Dame. So I think April, you get the guys that, are kind of leaning Notre Dame already. They want to see it again. And then you start to see things heat up as we get to the summer with guys, that like Notre Dame, want to do their visits, whatever. But you'll start to get a clearer picture of the main targets for this class.
Yeah. And you know what else? Have you heard anything about how the new guys are integrating, getting in there, like it just moving in and easy to get in the groove of things and learn your recruiting, all the nuance? Have you heard anything about how that's going with the mix of all the new guys?
So everything, I take a lot away from, I love that Freeman has added this. I don't know if you watched the freshman interviews, John, on the Notre Dame football YouTube page, but all of them just talk about routine. And I love that. So all of them are talking about how there's this routine that they all follow, especially a guy like Drake Bowen playing both sports. Like the guy has zero free time.
Right.
His girlfriend's never hearing from him. So he's going to class, baseball practice, lift, football practice, whatever, homework, bed, every single day. So they're getting on this regimented schedule as early enrollees before the guys come in the summer. So I think it's a big leg up, and they're getting adjusted to Notre Dame already. So I mean, they're not going to say anything in the press that's like bad. Oh my God, I hate this schedule. But I think they seem to already understand Notre Dame's going to be difficult, but at the same time, you're getting the absolute most out of life in terms of you're going to play high quality football, you're going to play high level football, but you're getting the best education that's available. So
yeah, and there's a support system and a structure there for them too to help them get by, because they do realize it's hard, and so there is a structure and support there that's good.
Well, yeah, you and I wouldn't get by just not playing football at Notre Dame, and then these guys expect.
Are you saying we're not geniuses? How dare you?
Yeah, right. I know. I should just speak for myself, I guess. I'm a Ball State grad here, but Yeah, expected to go to one of the top universities in the world and play football. You're expected to do 8 hours of both. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, imagine playing college football and having to go to school too.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's a joke. That's old school, dude. That's like how it used to be. Come
What
on.
did Cordell Jones tweet? I came here to play football, not to play school. Something like that.
We ain't come to play school was the exact quote. We ain't come to play school. All right.
Right?
And he did come back and get his degree. I give him credit for that. All those years later, he did come back and get his degree. And so I can't use that against Ohio State anymore with the same leverage I did back then.
He came
All
back
right.
to school on his own terms.
Yeah. I got one more question for you, and it's a fun one, but it's a tough one. You can only get one win next year. USC, Ohio State. Who you picking and why? You're going to win one and lose one, guaranteed. You don't get to know what else happens with any of the other games. It's win one, lose one. Which one you picking and why?
I want to beat USC. That means a lot more to me. And for some reason, the first thing that came to mind is because I want Chris Fowler to shut up. He's not going to be on the game because it's at Notre Dame. So it'll be on NBC. But that hasn't been out of my head since. I can't stand the guy, and I'll mute the TV from now moving forward. But
dude, he was so aroused by everything. They hiked it to Williams. The guy couldn't handle it.
I got to send you a meme I have of Chris Fowler and USC after this. But beating the likely Heisman, I think, would be huge. So, but also losing to Ohio State wouldn't be great. I think Notre Dame has a better chance against Ohio State and a first-time quarterback against, than the other.
Well, in an ideal world, you take care of both of them, but I'm not giving you that option. And the other thing is just historically, as much as I love Marcus Freeman, I would give any Notre Dame coach a hard time if you start out 0-2 against USC. Existentially, that's just risky. Just on an existential level, that's like a crack in the foundation. It's my guy. It's going to hurt me. I can't have it. You got them at your place. You got to scrape and find a way to do it. But I'm with you.
Will you be there for USC this year?
I don't know yet. I'm still trying to figure it all out. The problem is when I go for one of those big weekends, I lose a lot of revenue from the show because I'm gone Friday. I'm gone Saturday. I get home noon Sunday. It's like it's a big loss of not that I didn't like staying up late drinking with you guys around the table before the Clemson game last year. I loved it, but I'm not able to do my call-ins and I just end up losing money instead of making it. So those are tough decisions.
You got to do one. That was a great time with the Airbnb. We got to run that back.
I know. I was thinking maybe Ohio State would be the one because it'd be early enough. The weather's going to be pretty good and we won't that might be it. So I don't know. We'll see. But I agree with you. I'm picking USC on that one. Just big picture, revenge factor from last year, big picture history, Freeman getting leveled out, 1-1, like all those reasons. I get the prioritization some people are giving Ohio State because it's the first of the big three. So it could kind of set you in that direction being earlier in the year. But I just think big picture, USC means so much more.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's a rivalry. That's Notre Dame's biggest rival in my book. You got to win it.
Yep. I agree. Anything else we didn't cover, my friend? I thank you for your time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's it. Really make sure you follow me, Mason Plummer _ follow at the Golden Homers. I'm not sure when John is going to be dropping this, but we record every Tuesday or Wednesday. So look out for our podcast weekly on Wednesday or Thursday. We usually like to do Twitter Spaces. Last night was a breaking one. We weren't really sure. I mean, we felt good about Micah Shrewsbury being the new Notre Dame basketball coach, but we weren't sure when that was all going to go down. Did an emergency space, had about 50 people in there. It was great. So look out for that kind of stuff. And continue to support the show and continue to support John. Thanks for having me on.
Beautiful. Appreciate it. We'll get to a Sox game this spring. I'll probably see you at Blue and Gold if you're planning on going. And then we will reconnect on a show when we get further down the road in the recruiting path and there's new updates. So I guess for now, like he said, everybody follow his stuff, and then I'll see you in a few weeks in South Bend.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me on, John.
Have a good night.
All right, same to you.